No, dead. They're all dead.
Mamma mia!
The following views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the producers, hosts, and or guests of the Bitter Marks podcast. We assume no responsibility for any errors or omissions in the content provided.
Listener discretion is advised.
Bitter Marks! Bitter Marks! What's up, smooth babies? Welcome to Bitter Marks! It's your favorite non-wrestling wrestling podcast coming to you every single Friday morning at bittermarks.com or wherever you get your podcast from. That is, of course, in audio or in video form. That's right, in video form on our YouTube page. Just head on over to YouTube, search for Bitter Marks Podcast without the at the beginning. Just Bitter Marks Podcast. And then the little thing comes up. Our little channel comes up. You can subscribe. You can turn on the notifications. Do what you got to do to listen to this podcast. But this podcast, did I already mess this up? Because I don't know what day it is. I'm sorry, guys. It's Monday now. We do this on Mondays now. If I said Tuesday, I apologize. If I didn't say Tuesday, well, I apologize now. You can join us live every single Monday, live at 9:05. That's p.m. and that's Central Standard Time. We record this thing live on our YouTube page. Just head into the YouTube chat. You can talk to the smooth babies who hopefully they got the message and they're slowly crawling into the to the chat room. And if not, you can just hear me, I don't know, mumble my whole way through. If I don't get through this beginning part, I'm just not going to bring in the other guys. So that's what we got going on today. Anyway, if this is your first time joining us, thanks for checking us out. We appreciate it. Feel free to email us and ask us what the hell is going on. bittermarks@gmail.com. That's the best way to do so. Anyway, I'm your host. My name is Sasha, also known as Mr. Main Event in some certain corners of the globe, also known as Huevos de Oro in other corners of the globe. That's right. The globe is square, everybody. Anyway, I'm joined by my dear friend. He's 8 feet tall with a 2-foot dictionary. It's Peewee.
I couldn't click the button to make me visible because I was shaking with laughter. Oh, what an intro. It's Monday.
Monday Night Flawed.
What's going on? This is a random Monday. I want to thank, first of all, any of the smooth babies that are already in the chat on this random Monday. We gave you guys very, very short notice, but you jumped right in here. The chat is already blowing up. What's up, man? How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Hattori Hanzo with the Bitter Marks is greater than Raw. We got Ivica chiming in with Bitter Marks equals Westminster Dog Show. That's high praise. Because I believe that used to beat Raw back in the day. So
does that? I don't even know if that still airs. Is the dog show still a thing?
They probably have their own dog channel by this point, right? I'm doing well. I'm trying to get used to this change. How about you? What's going on? You doing okay?
I'll talk about it in a bit when we get to my weekend. But I'm doing okay. Not great, but okay.
All right. We are joined by the punctual prince of podcasting from parts unknown Illinois. If we reminded him to be here on Monday, I hope he's here when we take a look here. It's producer Tony.
What's up, everybody? Yeah. We made it. And I apologize in advance if I seem a little distracted. We are doing this live on Mondays now, which directly conflicts with Monday Night Football. And you know, your boy is a big fantasy football player. You could check out Scoop and Poop anywhere you get your podcast. Just search all one word, Scoop and Poop. And your boy is up 30 points, but Matt has two
all night.
going.
I want real-time fantasy football updates.
I don't know. They're in the red zone right now, so if I have a loud outbreak, you'll know what happened.
Good.
I do like that that this now coincides with you possibly losing money or a game or whatever it is. that's maybe the positive of putting it on a Monday night. Also, we're going head to head with Raw. I'd love to see the numbers
Right.
after this is
Yes.
done. But I really wanted to say thank you to you guys for being available on Mondays instead of Tuesdays, because I have decided to take it upon myself to change the day to better suit my own
Yeah, what are we
life.
doing here? What was the reason for all this?
So obviously we normally do this Tuesdays. We've done it every Tuesday, I think, since the beginning of this podcast. And okay, so there's an open mic that I do on Wednesdays.
Lamar Jackson just fumbled at the 1-yard line. Now Matt needs 32 points to beat me. Let's go, boys.
And so the Wednesday night thing got canceled. I told you my jokes were so bad they decided not to have any more shows at this place. But the two guys who are running that open mic have found a new place, and they're doing them Tuesday nights pretty much down the street from the old place. And I really like that mic. I like the guys who run that mic, and it's a good place for me to try like new stuff. Whereas when I go to other places, I'm just kind of doing the same jokes over and over again. So, I mean, technically, I can do Tuesdays as well. If we need to at any time, you guys, please let me know. Tuesdays are still open. Any day is still available. But in order to accommodate my needs and the mics that I wanted to hit, we are changing things up here. And it's taken some time to get used to here. It's weird, right? It's like a weird thing to start the week off.
I tried to theme the beginning of the show by normally when you're doing your intro and you're talking on YouTube, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see Tony and I are not visible. We're covered by those. It's usually a funny wrestling gif. Mine this week, I even forget what it was. Oh, it was Cena throwing the steps at Bray Wyatt. Yeah.
Jesus.
Ow.
Tony, I tried to theme yours to the day. I did a football theme one. A guy spikes the ball into his nuts and then gets pushed over. What I didn't notice is that I believe number 13, I was watching this when Tony was, before he was introduced, I think 13 leg drops the guy after he's on the ground.
He does.
No, I mean, it looks like it. It definitely looks like it, but he's taken out into
I don't know.
the leg drop.
This
so
looks perfect.
You're right. It is a pretty textbook-looking leg drop. If you are not watching on the YouTube, you are clearly missing out. But yeah, well done. Well done as always, Peewee, with those things. I don't even look at them because they mess me up so often. But I wanted to get things started off here by talking about a serious conversation that me and Peewee actually had on Friday. But
he froze right as he got into this serious conversation.
He was about to drop some serious shit on us, and then his Skype call just froze. I want to talk about football, Peewee. I mean, have you been fantasy team?
After week 2, no.
No,
I'm done. I think right now we've lost the last 3 or 4 games. And so I could not care. You're back, but we're talking football now.
Yeah, forget about whatever
I thought
important conversation you were going to have. We're talking about football now. Sorry, bud.
I thought I was 10 minutes behind now. Like, I didn't know if I could talk.
Amazing. No, we're good. We can talk football later.
So me and Peewee had this hardcore discussion, and I just have to see where Tony is. Cheers. Great show or excellent show?
Oh, this is the important conversation we had?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, you just look back at all the star-studded talent on that show. The likes of Woody Harrelson launched his career, Ted Danson, and of course George Wendt, my friend.
I'm gonna do a little tournament here, guys. I don't know if you're ready for this.
Cheers tournament is a great idea.
Great, and Frazier, don't forget Frazier. My God.
All right, so who do you guys have? Norm versus Cliff Clavin.
Starting out hot in round 1.
Yeah,
I think we talked about this on the Flips and Bumps, another podcast that's also not about Cheers, but I chose Norm.
Yeah, and I'm Cliff Clavin. So Tony is the
tiebreak.
Is the rubber man.
I mean, they're two different personalities, right? When Norm walks in, everybody pops. He gets a huge ovation. But Cliff is a guy you want to have a thorough conversation with over a beer. But when I'm at a bar, I just want to have fun, and I think Norm is the guy to drink
Okay.
with
See,
when we're at Cheers.
I knew Tony was going Norm, but I assumed it was for his Da Bears connection.
Of course.
What about Carla versus Frasier?
That's a layup.
Yeah, this isn't even a contest.
I'm not super anti Frasier, but I'm very pro Carla.
Tony?
No, I got to give it to Frasier.
Wow.
See, I did not think it was a layup.
Wow.
This may shock you. I'm going Frasier as well.
Wow, it's a win.
How?
If this was 1996, I would have been all Carla all day long. But listen, I lived with our buddy Worm for a long time, and he tried to convince me that Frasier was a good show because I was like, Frasier is a chode. He talks like a chode. He acts like a chode, and so I wasn't into that. Worm kept trying to get me to watch Frasier. I was like, no, this is the dumbest thing of all time. 10 years go by. I finally watched Frasier. Brilliant show, brilliant man, and I love Frasier. Frasier is one of the top classically trained actors of our time.
Yeah.
So where do you guys fall on Lilith? Is Lilith high up on your list as well?
Lilith is low-key solid, my friend.
All right. Low-key solid's fine. I wouldn't put her top 10, but
I prefer Woody personally.
I was gonna say,
and that's where we go here: Woody or Coach.
It's Woody for me.
See, I think I'd have to go back and watch some Cheers. I think Coach had some really, really good moments playing the super dumb guy, the super dumb old guy, and then he got replaced by the super dumb young guy.
The problem is
Coach. I'll go Coach.
Coach was not there long enough. He was an excellent character, but he died almost immediately. That's why I got to go Woody.
Okay.
So Woody shall advance. And then in the fourth bracket we have Diane or Rebecca. This is this one's big. This one is big. Well, who are you going with, Tony?
The characters are escaping me. Hold on.
Whoa.
Kirstie Alley.
Okay. I'm gonna go, and Rebecca is Shelley.
Shelley Long.
No, Rebecca
Diane
is
Shelley Long.
Kirstie Alley.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Rebecca's brunette and Shelley Long. Diane is blonde.
Give me the non-Kirstie Alley.
Wow. Have you
Shelley
not
Long.
seen Look Who's Talking? Look Who's Talking to? You're totally missing out on a wealth of talent here.
Clearly.
My wife watched all three of those last week and just said the same exact thing to me because I said, I think I'm Shelley Long. And she said, is that a penis reference? I said, you know it is. And then she was like, I don't know, but last week I watched Look Who's Talking and you didn't watch them. So, like, it's unfair.
Okay, yeah,
for you.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
you're
so I don't know those things. But I'm going Shelley Long as well.
Wow.
All right, so now we have the matchup of Long and Woody. Long, Woody. Who you guys got?
I mean, I didn't go with Shelley Long to begin with. I love White Men Can't Jump. It's my favorite sports movie of all time. I'll 100% go Woody.
I mean, Woody Harrelson's one of my favorite actors in Hollywood, so clearly this is a sweep if I've ever seen one. Woody Harrelson all the way.
3 Woodies advancing.
Oh yeah.
And then the other one, we got Norm versus Frasier. I got Norm.
Norm.
Can't go
Absolutely.
against
The book.
Norm.
Yeah, again, we talked about this on Flips and Bumps, but you can't beat the prop of the book.
And we're going with who do you want to drink with at a bar, and it's Norm.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Norm.
That's fine.
And now we have the ultimate matchup: Norm or Woody.
See, I'd go Norm here. I think Norm's a better hang.
I'm gonna go Woody and leave it up to producer Tony to decide as to who the winner is.
I'm gonna go with a guy from a certain town who likes a certain theme, and that's Norm.
Nicely done.
I respect that. And next week we will do Third Rock from the Sun tournament.
Bonus round. Would you prefer scenes in the office or scenes in the pool room?
Oh.
Wow.
That's good. Office, I feel like it was more like tough situations that they were dealing with, right? The pool room. Well, I guess they both were. Didn't they have
That's
like
where
a
they had the
brawl?
hard talks.
Yeah.
In the office.
That's good. I like The Office better.
Okay. Yeah, I
go
the
pool
British,
room.
the British.
I'm going
Office.
pool room.
Wow,
Oh,
I'm going Office as well. U.S. version.
All right, Norm in The Office. We did it, gentlemen. That was an exciting 15 minutes to start this podcast.
All right, let's wrap it up. Let's go.
So I say to you guys, Peewee, how was your weekend?
Tough. How was yours?
Perfectly fine. Thank you for asking.
Wanted to get that out of the way, right?
I was supposed to go to Milwaukee. With,
did that not happen?
Ivica. No, the guy canceled at like 4:00. He lost his voice, so we ended up not going.
Okay.
Wow.
I watched Chappelle's special instead. I thought it was excellent as his.
What's all the
specials.
scuttle about that? Some shit has gone down since that one came out. I haven't seen it, but summarize
Just
it.
like he says the word trans, and then people get offended, and he makes jokes like he always does, and it's in my opinion ridiculous. Like the guy is very, very good at what he does, and it's not like he's attacking people or anyway. It doesn't matter. It's good. You should watch it. And what he's doing is getting other people to watch it by being controversial. I don't know that that's a plan, but that's what
happening.
happens.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, and it's always a good thing. It was an excellent special. It was very well done.
All right, I'll check it out.
Very well thought out as always. And it was like his last one on Netflix for the time being. So who knows when the next one will be? But it's the last of his contractual obligations. So. How was your show, Peewee?
Oh, yeah, I had that big wrestling show put together by Big Joe, the guy, one of the stars of the Pingree Grove story from 50 episodes ago. This was it was fine. It was probably a 6 out of 10 show. I didn't have a great time. This was a show where my wife, my son, my sister, her 2 kids, and my mother were all going to the show. We all did that. I went to the show very early. And they got to the show right at bell time. I reserved them seats. They got to their seats. And the first time that I saw them was just in the ring. This was a 6-match card with an intermission after 3. So it was 3-3. And I think I said this before. Big Joe, when he proposed that I be the ref for the show, when he found out I was back into wrestling, when I was doing Dave Hero shows, he's like, okay, I got a big show coming up in October. I want you to be the ref. Okay, great. And then he texted me like a month later and said, okay, you're officially booked, and I did you a favor. You're going to be the only ref. Okay. I don't know who that's doing a favor for, you or me.
Thanks.
But,
yeah.
Right. I think in his mind it was a legitimate, like he's doing me a favor type of thing in his mind, because like the more work, the better. Like the more exposure I get, the better. The more my kid can see me, the better. But that's a lot of work. Thank God he had an intermission. That was the only pro about this, as far as the setup of the show goes. He had, like I said, it was a 3-match and then an intermission, then 3 matches. He also had a meet and greet. The bell time was at 7:30, and they started promptly at 7:30. They had a meet and greet up until 7:20. None of these guys talked about anything except for the first match, who weren't part of the meet and greet, prior to coming back from the meet and greet. So at 7:20. So picture me, who's going to leave the curtain before the first match. I'm not going to come back through the curtain until after the 3rd match. So I have to get as much information as I can beforehand for these first 3 matches, which is nothing. I walk up to all the guys, like quickly ask them, hey, do you have ideas of what you're going to do, blah, blah, blah. Most of them say no. And some of them give me like ideas of what they're going to do, but they don't know because they haven't confirmed anything with anybody. So the first match goes off without a hitch. It's a triple threat, which I didn't love. They opened the show with a triple threat elimination match. The second match was a tag match, like a regular 2-on-2 tag match. And then the third match was a 6-man, a 3-on-3 tag match, and then intermission. So the first 3 matches, we have not had a singles match. And this is a crowd of people who are not familiar with like wrestling. These aren't like typical wrestling fans. So if it was me, the very first match out there is a 1-on-1, very simple baby versus heel wrestling match. So let's show them what wrestling is. And
no, he's getting you ready to ref AEW matches in the future.
Smart. Okay, he's pre-preparing me. So the first match was fine. Second match was okay. So what happens is when I don't know a certain finish, I just have to go to the heels come out first. When I go to the heels, after they're in the ring, they start playing the baby's music, and all the focus goes to the ramp. I then go to the heel and start checking his knee pads and his elbow pads and his gear.
Right.
And I start checking to make sure he's not have any weapons and he's clean, whatever. I don't normally do this. The only time I do this is when I need to whisper to the guy, "Hey, what the fuck are we doing?" And so then at that point, he whispers to me whatever the finish was. I think it was like a double roll-up or something. The finish is not a big deal. It's when they need me to run spots beforehand, right? Like if they need me to run spots in the beginning, if they need to get the ref involved and they need me to do something specific or be in a specific position or not see something, and that wasn't the case. They couldn't explain. Those type of spots take a minute and a half to explain. And that's not something you can whisper in the middle of the ring. You know what I mean? We need to do that in the back. You need to go through the motions and do that. And I told the guys this beforehand. I said, you don't involve me in a ton of stuff. Don't do a bunch of stuff behind my back because I can't time out the spacing of where I'm looking and where I'm not looking. And they, essentially ignored that, which I don't blame them. I'm just a referee trying to tell them what to do, but I'm trying to do it for the benefit of the show. And what happens is the heels end up cheating right in front of me when my back should be turned. And it's something, in my opinion, I can't really control, but it happened a lot. And it happened probably in 5 out of the 6 matches, if not more, because of this specific situation and because of guys not telling me exactly what they wanted me to do and just kind of assuming that I'd be in the right position and hoping that I'd be in the right position, and I wasn't. So this show specifically, I just didn't feel great about my performance and not knowing like intuitively where to be and when not to look and when to look and do all that stuff. Third match. So first and second match, the entire family's out there watching. They're cheering me on. They made signs which I wasn't aware of. I come out and they're holding up Steph has a sign that says "I'm here for the ref" with a ref shirt on it. Connor has a big Mark Bitters sign with a referee shirt on it. My other 2 nephews also had referee and Mark Bitters shirts or signs. I was very, very nice. I was very taken aback. Third match comes. They introduce the heels. It's just a random group of 3 guys. They introduce the babies, who you don't know are babies. You just, it's the second group, so I know it's the babies. And they play like some dark circus music, and out comes 3 bloody circus clowns. I turn to look at my sister, and she has got both of her nephews by the hand, and they're walking out the door. They did not come back. So I guess the story.
Have you talked to them?
They are fine. I did check them at intermission. I didn't see the guys. I didn't see their makeup prior to them coming through the curtain.
I'm only up 12 points. That's a touchdown from Lamar Jackson to Hollywood
Wow.
Brown. Oh my
man,
God.
we got some tension.
Yes.
We got some tension.
This is bad, boys.
Oh, keep us posted, please.
This is real bad. That's a 43-yard touchdown. He gets 2 touchdowns.
That's double points. Oh, that's good for the podcast. Good. All right, keep us posted. So I guess the littlest nephew was a little nervous between the first and second matches. He didn't like seeing guys getting hurt, even though I fully explained to them that this was a show. The older nephew was very much enthralled and into the show. But once the clowns came out, they all got freaked out. My sister even got freaked out. She wanted to go. So we let them get out of there. And I talked to them later. They're fine. But Steph and Connor hung around. My mom took off with my sister. And they were there for the rest of the show. The 6-man goes okay. The finish for the 6-man, the guy literally told me, I said, "What's the finish?" He goes, "Balloon." I go, "What?" He says, "Balloon." I looked at him like, excuse me, sir. I apologize for my ignorance. I've been out of wrestling for about 12 years. Is that a term I don't know? And this is the clown telling me, it's like, "No, I'm going to blow up a balloon. I'm going to pop it behind him, scare him, schoolboy him, 1, 2, 3. Whatever you say, sir. All right, I'll see you out there.
Was it just a regular balloon, or did you make a balloon animal?
No, it was just a balloon. It was just a regular straight up balloon. So that was a first. And then we did intermission. And intermissions when I text my sister, and then I also made sure to run back to the back and then get the finishes, or at least as much information as they had for the other 3 matches. Coming back from intermission, it was Vic Capri versus Joe Doring, Impact's Joe Doring, which...
It's a good match right there.
I don't know. It's a huge guy in Joe Doring, literally 6'4" cowboy, giant man, against... no, this could be... I type allegedly, but I'm too sore. Vic Capri's like 5'8", 5'7". Yeah,
but he looks like $1 million.
Absolutely. He looks, relatively speaking, when Vic Capri's standing by himself, he looks unbelievable. Put him next to a 6'4" guy, not so unbelievable. They worked a little bit of the big man versus little man, and they did fine with it. They didn't really milk it, but there was still a little bit of big man versus little man. And then the very next match was Jay Bradley against, what's the kid's name? It's Jordan Cross, Joe's kid. So Jay Bradley is 6'2", WWE developmental, big guy. He was in TNA as Bradley J, I think. Do you know this guy?
Yeah, he's a Randy guy.
Yeah.
He was in Pro Wrestling Noah as well.
He's been
recently.
all over, yeah. He was developmental,
Yeah.
he was Impact, whatever. And then Jordan is just a skinny 19-year-old kid. So again, they work the big man versus little man stuff. This match, because Jordan is Joe's kid, Joe is just looking to get Jordan out there, get him experience, put him in there with guys who are experienced like Bradley, and get him some experience. And Bradley is a guy who's not going to lay up. Like, he's one that's both physically and mentally. He's not going to lay up. He's going to push Jordan mentally, make sure he can remember a lot of stuff, and push him to the limit as far as the stuff that he wants Jordan to do. And then he's also going to beat the shit out of Jordan, which he did.
Yeah, and you said he was good. I mean, like, undersized, obviously, because he's young. But you said he was pretty good, right?
Jordan's very good. He's got a very smart head on his shoulders. He listens to his dad. His dad is always critiquing his stuff, and like I said, he's always putting him in there with guys who are not only wrestling savvy, but they're also guys that Joe knows are going to sit down with Jordan afterwards and break down what he did right, and more importantly, what he did wrong.
That's great.
During this match is where my trouble comes in. Joe wanted to do a ref bump, which I was internally vehemently against. This is not the main event, and I'm the only ref on the show. How do you bump the ref in the 5th match when I still have matches after that?
Yeah, you're gonna magically heal from a concussion, or
right. I asked
whatever.
Joe this. He goes, "It'll be fine. It'll be a light bump. You won't get laid out." I'm like, "Okay, what is it?" Well, Jay's gonna squish you in the corner. What? That's Jay Bradley, 6'2", 280 pounds. Jay Bradley's gonna squish me in the corner, and I'm gonna be fine. I have a clip. Do you guys want to see the clip of what happened?
Oh yes.
Okay. Here it is. So that's Tiny Jordan with Bradley.
Oh no.
They do.
Get
Bradley
out of the
gets whipped
corner.
in the corner reversal. Whoa. We stop it there, tease it. Big squish. That's fine.
That's a lot of man.
It's a lot of man. Now my problem was I haven't bumped. I haven't bumped in 2021. I haven't bumped since I came back.
Are you legitimately crying in the corner right there?
I don't know if I can rewind this or not, but my left wrist got caught on my body, like here, and it was out like, it got bent inward. It got this, my fingers touched my arm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that happened, and the left side of my body got crushed against the ropes. I pulled a muscle on my left side. I believe it's my left oblique is pulled. I can't lean to my right. My wrist is severely injured, and something's going on with my elbow. I'm not sure. I totally took this splash completely wrong, and I knew it right away. Like, if you watch that video again, I immediately grabbed my wrist because, and it's like, here, I'm gonna play it again just so you guys can watch it in the background. But like, as a referee, if I take this huge bump, the last thing I'm gonna sell here, if it's a work, is my wrist, right? Like, he's squishing me. I should be selling my chest and my back and whatever. Nope. I fall to the ground, and now I'm clutching my wrist.
Those are real pain. That's real pain.
It was.
There,
I legitimately thought it was broken. I was very much concerned for future shows and honestly, the first thing that came to mind was, can I take pictures for eBay? Like, can I bend over? Can I continue working on my eBay stuff? And then also look at that pin. I'm not selling the 3 count at all. My entire mind is just on how hurt I am. I'm not considering what's going on in the match at all. I don't sell it all right here. Yeah, it was just a mess. So for the rest of the day, for the rest of that day, and then all of yesterday and all of today, I've been in pain. I don't know how severe this injury. I don't think it's anything serious, but the fact that I got injured on the first bump back, when I used to take bumps like once a month and be fine, it's got to be because I'm 40 years old now and doing this. But it was because I wasn't prepared for it and I wasn't thinking about the bump, and it was a weird show and I haven't bumped it. There was a ton of factors going into it.
I threw
And
my
check
back
our,
out putting on my seatbelt one time.
There you go. Right. Same thing.
That's what happens when you get old,
Right?
man. It's just
Check our ProWrestlingTees.com store for rest in peace Peewee shirts.
They're back. And then the main event was Ming and Barbarian against Big Joe and Jeff Luxon. During this match, I turned to my left, and on the corner, just standing against the wall, I spot Doug Simmons, who was another one of the stars of the Pingree Grove story. He's the guy that tagged with the gym teacher. I hadn't seen him since the Pingree Grove show. So I get very excited during the main event. I turn towards him. I smile at him. He smiles back at me. And then I get back to the match. And the match was fine. They blew, or I blew, I don't know, a false tag spot where I'm supposed to go to the heel, then realize the baby's running in, go to the baby, miss the tag, blah, blah, blah. It was a mess. It was a mess. So then that made me look dumb. After the show, Dave Hero was there. Dave Hero came just to watch his kid. Cal was working the show, and Dave Hero, I just passed him, as I'm walking through. Actually, I think I was moving from Steph to Big Joe, and while I was moving between them, I walked by Hero, and Hero grabs me and goes, "Hey man, saw you out there." I don't know if at first he said nice work out there, but immediately after that, he's like, I don't even think he said nice work. I think he just started with, "Hey, they buried you in every match out there." It's very similar to what he told me that very first show that I worked for him, meaning that all the times that the guys were cheating, I saw it and I let the match continue. That essentially buries the ref. This is stuff that he's gotten on me before, and it happened again here. He then followed up with the second thing he said to me, and the only other thing he said to me was, "If I was a promoter out here looking for a referee, I wouldn't book you." Thanks, Dave.
Wow.
Take care, brother. Like that.
see you at the next show, Dave.
Right, that was it. I don't have a Hero show booked. It's because I had to blow him off for that New York event. I had to blow him off, and he hasn't called me since. I think he's past the Mark Bitters train, which is fine. But as bluntly as Dave Hero put those comments, he does absolutely have a point, and it's something I want to work on. I believe if I get around to it, I've got a busy week, but what I want to do this week is reach out to Hero and ask him what he thinks I can do to improve on not looking so stupid during my matches. I mean, if he's noticing it every time he watches me work, then it's obviously an issue. So I do want to work on that and see what happens. The other stuff that happened, then I talked to Doug Simmons. First thing he says to me, he says, "Dan, great to see you. You're the best ref I've ever seen." It's like, followed that up right after Dave Hero's comment. Then Vic Capri, who I've never met in my life prior to In the Ring, he grabbed me and goes, "Hey, where do you ref at? I've never seen you before." And then I gave him my whole spiel. I did it for 10 years, then I took 9 years off, and my first show back was April of this year. He goes, "Oh, that's great, man. You're doing great out there. I just wanted to see what you're doing because I've never seen you before." So the fact that he just pulled me out of nowhere and noticed that he hadn't noticed me before, that meant something. So I don't know. I was just getting mixed reactions the entire night. I'm the greatest referee of all time to some, and the worst referee of all time to others. And Jay Bradley needs to lighten the fuck up.
But I'm just curious because I don't know what the right thing to do is. Probably just what you did. But if you see something you shouldn't have, you can't just blow up the match and DQ.
His point is I shouldn't have seen it in the first place. If I do see it, then I can't just turn my back blindly to it. I have to be like, and this is what I was doing all night. It was a tag match, and the guy who's waiting for a tag will go to low bridge or kick the guy in the back as he's getting whipped off the ropes. And I'll have to just look at him and be like, "Hey, I'm looking right at you. You kicked him. You do that again, I'm throwing you right out of here," or something along those lines.
Right. You just got to keep
exactly right. It's just doing exactly what a parent or teacher does.
Yeah,
right. That's all you can do.
That makes sense.
So yeah.
King of Art Justin Tuttle says, "How did Connor react to his dad taking the bump?"
I knew this was coming, obviously. I actually sent a text I called Steph and said, "Hey, bad news, I'm bumping tonight." Because I don't think Connor could handle it. I think he definitely knows everything's a work, but he still gets too up in his head about dad's safety. So I'm I called Steph and said, "Here's what's happening. Do you think we should tell him?" She goes, "No, let's keep some magic alive." I'm like, okay. Ice cold mom. Okay, let's.
Yeah. Anything can
Right.
happen.
So, and I was fine
wrestling
with
business.
that. But the bad part was, so Steph knew it was coming. She's recorded. That's the only reason I have this video. This is Steph's video that I played. The whole time leading up to it, Steph's going, "Oh, I don't like this guy. Oh, I got to keep an eye on this guy." She's trying. Again, Connor's not into wrestling. Connor's not paying attention by the 5th match. So she's constantly saying things like avert his attention towards the ring. He missed the bump. He didn't see it. I guess once he saw that I was knocked down, I think you can hear Steph say something in the video like, "Oh, Dad's knocked out" or something. Then he starts, he turns his attention to the ring, realizes it, and then he starts getting a little more concerned. But he was fine. He saw that I got right up and I wasn't hurt for the most. I mean, I've been hurt for the past 2 days. Everything after that.
I mean, you
right.
are hurt.
I don't remember ever being hurt in the 12 years I worked for Randy, ever. And I took a bunch of bumps. I don't remember ever feeling sore after the show, the next day, or anything. I take one bump in 2021, and I'm like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. Wrap this up. Right.
Time to retire again, I think, is what's going on here.
I did want to say, I think there is another Randy student in AEW. If you've heard the name Sky Blue, she was the one who got like the last spot in the women's Rumble. You know, like babyface.
No,
she's like 18 years old or something like that. I'm pretty sure she is a Randy trained girl or whatever, but she's been all over the indies and everything, and AEW brought her in. She actually was on whatever their Friday shows, Rampage. She got crushed by Jade Cargill or whatever, but they've been using her on.
Do you know if Randy's been promoting
all that kind of stuff? So, I cannot.
That's my only thought.
I
thought that you do follow him on some sort of social media, and if it was a Randy student, I would have to believe that he would promote the hell out of it if one of his students was on television for a good reason. I mean, that's good.
I do, but I snooze him for 30 days at a time because it's 99% political, and then like 1% he'll mention like CM Punk or something, and like that's the stuff I want to see, or like still looking for that Burt Prentice comment
that never comes. Yeah, I'm with you.
I never found that.
Okay, so that was my show. I do have more shows coming up. The next one is beginning of November. I'll be sure to give you guys a 45-minute rundown of what happens on that show too.
Can't wait to hear how you're going to hurt yourself that show.
Rest in peace to Reggie Parks, who died of COVID. Reggie Parks is belt. What's the word I'm looking for here?
Yeah.
Savant. He's the guy who like created the winged eagle belt in the 80s and 90s of the WWF and the Intercontinental titles and all that stuff. And he was, I mean, he made
That looks like one of BDI's shirts. Look at the sleeves are cut off.
He made belts for everybody: WWE, WCW, NWA, AWA. He was also a wrestler. He trained under Stu Hart, which is where most people who train with Stu Hart train under him.
Perfect. Can't wait to see your stuff on Tuesday.
I don't know what type of joke that is, but it's an accurate joke. So that's the noise. So rest in peace, Reggie Parks. And by the way, AEW has a new belt. It's their secondary women's singles belt, the TBS Championship.
Is that what that
Peewee,
says? That says TBS Championship?
I didn't notice. I didn't notice it until you brought it up. But that
right?
belt says
it absolutely says hose.
It was like the 3D pictures where you have to like find a dolphin with like one eye closed. But I found it, and now I can't stop looking at the Hose Championship.
I can't believe, one, that they're naming another belt after another television network that they may not be on permanently. The TNT Championship is already off of TNT. Now they're doing a TBS Championship. And then I can't believe this is the design they went with. This is a ridiculous design. Can you imagine if WWE came out with the USA Championship? How panned that would get. And then if it just said USA on the front of it, and it wasn't also, I guess there would be some confusion with their US championship belt there.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was already confused while you were talking
Spike
about
TV. If they had a Spike
like the
TV
Spike
championship,
TV
you know what
championship.
I mean? It wouldn't rub people the right way. Like you can't. I don't think you can do that and get away with it on for like the core base of wrestling fans, unless you're AEW, where you can do no wrong. And then on top of this, the logo for TBS, when written like this and smushed together, says hose, and it's a women's championship. This is I was blown away when I saw this.
Stu Hart, also not known for rubbing people the right way. Just thought I'd toss that in there. We did get an email this week. Our dear friend Hattori Hanzo chimes in. Let me read this thing. I haven't read it yet, so hopefully he doesn't go on a swearing spree here. Well, that would be fine. But anyway, he says, the women on the NXT UK roster. Okay, so now we're talking women on the NXT UK roster, which is producer Tony's section of the show.
All right, I'm listening.
Are superior to most men on the flagship rosters. No wonder Walter does not want to come here. I've been watching the ECW Hardcore TV library, starting at the beginning and working my way through the entire library. As of Saturday morning, the last episode I watched was recapping the NWA Championship that Shane Douglas won and threw down the belt. At the end of the episode, Todd Gordon announces the promotion is now called Extreme Championship Wrestling. Very interesting to watch the rise. It was a rough go most of '93. Lots of bad repetitive matches with bad wrestlers. Sounds like Raw. Sandman has a surfer gimmick. By the end of '93, everything has changed. Joey Styles becomes the voice. Production value increases. The ring apron no longer has a handwritten logo. And while they held on to some of the roster, it was fleshed out with better talent. First half of '94 is some of the best wrestling television you can hope for. Sandman's heel run as a wife beater is fantastic. Life is a bitch, and then you marry one. This was the start of the cigarettes, Zubaz-style pants, and Singapore cane, but I have a soft spot for the ridiculous surfer gimmick and wish there was a figure for it. Why make another Comrade Cena figure when the fans are clamoring for wetsuit Sandman? Peewee, you would know. Does this exist?
I wouldn't know. I don't
Sandman?
know. I'm not good with like all the figures that are available out there. I don't think so. I don't think there's many Sandmans. I think his best figure is like a WCW figure, actually.
Hey guys,
Uh-oh.
Lamar Jackson just threw another touchdown and a 2-point conversion. So now I am up by 1 point. One goddamn point. And there's like 10 minutes left in this game. So
wow.
The roller coaster of emotions as this podcast is going on. I'm just getting more bitter.
I like this new addition to RT Sports. According to RT Sports, you're only a 21% favorite to win, not unfavorite.
Yeah. Do you know what that was when the game started? 98% chance to win, and then now it's 21%.
You know, this is a double negative for you because we have to stay on until the end of this game, and that's going to make sure we hit the hour-and-a-half mark on this podcast.
No, we're going to tease it next week.
Everybody else turn off Monday Night Football.
Producer Tony. Yes, absolutely.
So from Surfer Sandman to regular Sandman to hardcore hack to all the stuff in between, there's something Sandman is doing, and I believe it's this upcoming March. I found this recently, and I don't know if this is like legitimately 4 months away or if it's something that has happened in the past, but it looks like Sandman is going to be fighting in a boxing match against a boxer, raising awareness for Alzheimer's, which seems like the worst possible way to raise awareness. The only worst one would be like
concussion awareness celebrity boxing event.
Oh, they're going to have a smoking contest to benefit lung cancer patients.
How is he going to box
How is he
anybody?
considered a celebrity?
Especially, does that say 24-time world champ or something on there? Oh, okay. Well, still, that is pretty impressive. I can't see. The font is very, very small. But Hack, by the way, he was just at the AAW show in Chicago like 2 weeks ago. He did a run-in to save Sky Blue, in fact.
Okay, this Randy's was in 2019. Protege. And he has done multiple celebrity boxing matches since.
Oh,
I don't
jeez.
have
Has he
the
won
results.
any? I saw this on Twitter and I didn't look at it, but when I saw the March 2nd, I was like, they can't be
Well,
advertising
these
for this
headlines
now.
for
Like,
Celebrity Boxing and Sandman go back to 2014.
wow. Apparently, he is a 8-time world champion.
Wow, amazing.
Ivica says that already happened and Sandman got killed with a T, so you know it's bad. Well, I guess next time he should box as a surfer. I don't know. Anyway, I sold some ECW tapes recently, and the guy actually asked me to take a picture of it was like ECW on TNN, ECW Hardcore TV. He wanted to know if there was commercials on it. He wanted to know the quality and all that stuff. And so I popped in a tape, and I was just like, "Oh, let me see what this is." And I pop it in, and it just happens to be the show that we went to in Philadelphia. And
during the mass trans shit incident, that one?
one or the other. This is the March. I think it was March 11th. They showed this on TNN, and then the Hardcore TV that week was also the Chicago or the Philadelphia version. That's me in the yellow. You can tell because I'm jacked to the gills.
That
Peewee
was
in
our
the
thing
other
at shows.
yellow
We
shirt.
were yellow, yeah. And it's smart. Look at that. You
Absolutely.
can find this right
I
away.
believe that's. Yeah, and I believe
that
that's
looks like
Kurt
him.
next to you. And then I was talking to someone to the left of me, so I don't know who it was. If it was Ivica, if this is where we all
I don't know
sat
that you're talking.
like
You
the
think
one
you're
time
talking
that
to
we
someone
went.
right now? I just think something's happening to the left.
No. I was watching the video and I was clearly
I see. Okay.
talking to somebody. And so I'm guessing it was
The first
Ivica
time,
if
right.
this was like the first time
Man,
that we
I
went.
don't understand how our parents let this
But
happen.
yeah, I agree. What a disaster. This was March of 2000. I was 17
Yeah,
at this
same.
point.
Just turned 18. Yeah.
You had just turned 18 because you're an old man, I believe, or just about to turn 18. Maybe this was your present, Peewee. I don't know. I did come across an interesting thing called water trash embroidery. I thought I'd throw this one out to you guys. Someone makes these embroidered things that I wanted to purchase and put in my bathroom. You know, like the cat that's like hang in there or whatever.
Garfield?
Yeah, but they make wrestling-based embroideries. So they have like a Matt Cardona one from the GCW, like the winning the title and flicking off. They have Danhausen, which has a little jar of raccoon teeth,
really?
like that, not embroidered,
I like
but like
that.
sticking out of the embroidery. They have the Mega Powers, which was pretty solid. A lot of them are like this, where it's like you don't see the face, but it's like the outline of the people. And then the interesting one, the Mance Warner with the I don't know what it is.
The skewer,
the
like the
sticks in the forehead.
What are they called? The skewers.
Yeah,
the
skewers.
barbecue skewers.
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
I don't know. I thought it was really, really interesting. They're a little bit too expensive for my taste, so I won't. But I
Christmas is
appreciate the
coming.
work that's being done. That's water trash embroidery on Instagram. And then the other thing I found, which I believe these all qualify as like bootleg shirts or whatever, but this is from WrestlingSucks.BigCartel.com. I talked about the one last week, but we didn't have the picture of it. It's the Arn Anderson one. It's Glock Anderson with the kind of wrap-looking shirt. Then there was, I found out that they have a Miami Vice one with Vader and Rick Rude in a famous picture
that's
where Rick
great.
Rude's
Look at
holding
that
a
thing.
gun. Yeah, that's an excellent shirt. And then the other one, and this one's for a very, very niche audience. It is the Rock the 3D Ounce Dudley Boys / Leftover Crack
Wow.
T-shirt.
That-
Yeah, I mean, Rock the 40 Ounce is the Leftover Crack.
Did they just
title,
make
so-
that shirt for Ivica? I think they might have.
I'm pretty sure he will be purchasing it almost immediately here. So I don't know. I just love it. I love the bootleg stuff going around. A lot of FMW stuff was out. I almost bought an FMW hoodie, and I'm like, what's wrong with you?
Smart.
Just save your money. All right, gentlemen. Well, let's talk a little bit about Dark Side of the Ring. we got 2 of them to talk about here, and one of them is the FMW one from 2 weeks ago. Peewee, did you
Nope,
happen to
sorry,
catch
I've
this
been
yet or
busy.
no? Oh, you gotta record this. It is well worth the watch. Producer Tony, I know you saw this thing. Possibly the best picture of Terry Funk I ever saw came out of this one. I've never seen that before. And it reminds me of a picture that we had of Kurt where he's counting money after, I think,
that
the
sounds
Lawler
right.
show
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Belvedere. And he's like bleeding. We'll try and get that for next week. But what a great. And you know he's complaining that there's not enough money in there. By the way.
Look at him. He's covered in blood, holding. Those aren't $100 bills. Those are yen. Whatever it is. There's stacks to the left. He's rolling in whatever it is.
Yeah. And
Rolling
they literally asked him after that, and he's like, "I'm pretty sure Onita kept all the money and didn't pay us anything." That was some cool stuff. Seeing Terry Funk, and he's talking, and he looks pretty decent. I mean, like, he's obviously old or whatever, but he wasn't like decrepit. Onita, same thing. He's just like this cool Japanese dude who just like randomly smokes cigarettes. Tony, what'd you think about these guys? I know you're not a big FMW guy or anything like that, but what'd you think of this whole situation here?
So I knew nothing about Japanese, wrestling, hardcore Japanese wrestling. Like, I know things just like being around you guys and hearing you talk about it, but like, it's never something that I ever watched. And I'm not a big hardcore guy, as you know. But I thought it was a great story. I mean, pretty much everybody was alive to tell about it.
Almost, yeah.
Almost, except for the promoter who got allegedly
killed by
the mob.
Yakuza,
Yeah.
the mob allegedly.
That and Hayabusa, I guess. But yeah, it was great to see Terry Funk and Onita, actually talk about it, which is cool. And I
gotta check.
Yeah,
oh yeah,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they had a long segment on him. Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting because they spent the first part of it talking about Onita and how important he was to it, and then how he got hurt, he retires, and then like eventually comes back and carries the company on his shoulders to create this. I mean, it really was like sports entertainment blood sport, like combining wrestling and like going against the karate guy, and they're like trying to do each other's styles to each other and stuff was really, really cool. And then like, so Onita leaves and basically gives the company to the announcer who's like, what? Has no clue how to like run anything. And then it just turns into this like crappy entertainment company. They're sticking stuff in each other's asses. That's not even allegedly. It was like fireworks or something. Like guys are dancing. Like it's just a weird whatever. But then they went into the Sabu stuff when they brought Sabu in there. And my favorite part of this was letting Sabu speak like openly and freely. He did not sound like I thought.
Is that the first time you've heard Sabu talk?
I've heard him talk, but not this much. He talks like Bill Alfonso. Like it's crazy.
He spent a lot of time in Philly at some point in his life.
And it's like, why wouldn't you let Sabu talk if this is what Sabu talks like? Like, give this man the mic constantly. Like, this is hilarious. I loved the story about the mafia being there in the front row. Sabu goes into the crowd, into like the mafia, and then later on he's just in the back showering, and like the mafia guys come to kick his ass, and Mike Awesome saves his life.
Mike Awesome fights off the mafia off of Sabu.
Yeah, like unbelievable. And then they showed the fire match, which was like Onita, the Sheik, and Sabu. I forget who else was in it. Now, I remember watching this match when I was a kid, and
that's fucking insane that they did that.
Yeah, it just like never clicked with me how real this thing was.
Yeah.
And then you hear these guys talking about how they couldn't breathe, so they're like Sabu's diving out of the ring, not onto people, like to leave the ring because he can't breathe.
So
they're throwing buckets of water. Yeah. It was just.
Sheik was like 65 years old when they did this.
Yeah, and like 80% burned, like his body.
Like Sabu said, he threw a bucket of water onto Sheik, and his entire skin on his
Wow.
back fell off,
Yeah.
which is just insane.
And like all of this stuff, and then they get into the Hayabusa stuff, like finally. You know what I mean? Like there was so much of this story to tell and just so much stuff, and like the best quality FMW I've ever seen. Not that it was good quality, but like way better than, you know, VHS tapes that we had when we were a kid. Peewee, you got to see this thing for sure at some point. And then the other one that came out was the Johnny Canine Dark Side.
Just because I know nothing about it.
Yeah, and you know what? That's the thing. Like, I thought this one might have been the low-key, like, surprise, like the best one, but I was wrong. Like, it was still great, but you can't beat that plane ride. The plane ride was leaps and bounds better than anything they've ever done. It was cool to like learn about Johnny Canine because I also had no clue who he was. Like, would you rather watch a documentary on a guy like this who you didn't know, but he has like this cool backstory, or a story that you knew but turned out to be way cooler, like the plane ride? Like the plane ride was like we talked about it, and then it still blew my mind watching the thing. Like, which would you rather have?
I'd go with the content that I can always dive into a new documentary. I always get invested as long as the story's good. I don't care what the content is. Yeah, I'd go with the story I'm unfamiliar with.
What about you, Tony?
I'd probably rather hear a story I've never heard before, like the Johnny Canine stuff. It wasn't the best Dark Side of the Ring by any stretch, but I learned something. Learned a lot. I learned a lot about FMW. So I would prefer one of those kind of stories, just learning something new.
Yeah, definitely. This was an interesting one because they talked about how funny this guy was. You know, he's just great to be around. Nobody could ever consider Johnny Canine blowing up a police station, which technically they make it seem like he was trying to blow up a strip club, so it's not exactly the same, apparently. But I don't know. It was interesting. He's like, yeah, he ordered a pizza, and when the pizza guy would bring his pizza, he like wouldn't be wearing any clothes. And like the internet didn't cancel Johnny Canine because he's dead. He's canceled for life or whatever. But you know what I mean? Like, we're all having a good time. There's schlongs and pizza men and no alleged cornering and stuff like that. The most interesting part, he was a Smoky Mountain guy. So like Jim Cornette saw him, brought him down to Smoky Mountain. He was there, you know, as this big monster heel, whatever. He beat the Macho Man in Smoky Mountain, and it was Macho Man's idea because Macho Man was like, I'm not coming down here ever again. Why not have him beat me? And they made like 3 guys beat up the Macho Man in order for it to happen or whatever. But this guy got the pin on the Macho Man, and the crowd reacted like they had just watched a car crash. They were just like they stopped. They were just like, what? And that's like some of the best reaction in wrestling when you can get, you know. Yeah.
Speaking of legitimate shock.
Uh-oh.
I have officially lost.
I'm laughing at Sasha
is up 2 points. Matt is up 2 points. So he's going to get another catch or yardage, and even if he throws an interception, I'm still cooked.
Oh, man.
And,
sorry, man. That went from a lock to... He's currently
sucks.
you started at 98%. He is now at 98%. Oh, man. What a game.
Oh, the turntables, indeed.
Well, I think that this is the best possible way to end this episode. I do have some more stuff we'll save for next week. Next week on the show... I got some interesting things, and a name that I think would be bigger for AEW than CM Punk, and I want your guys' opinion on it. I also, what else we got? I think we'll have some David Arquette news, because we always got to have that. And yeah, and that's about it. So what's making me bitter this week? For me, Vice or Sling, or I don't know who it is. Apparently MLW has a show on Vice, or is putting a show on Vice soon, like a weekly Saturday night show or something. Well, recently they had something called MLW Fightland, which was supposed to show a bunch of matches, including a Tajiri match. Tajiri won their middleweight title last week, or whenever this happened. But I go to watch this thing on demand, and you are not allowed to fast forward. So I did not watch it. Like, I watched until the commercial, and I was like, come on, it's wrestling. Who cares? What advertisers are caring during a Tajiri match? I know it's not a big bidder, but it's just like, it's annoying, and I hate the world. Anyway, just Tony. Things are going good in your life.
Imagine.
What's making you bitter?
Well, I'm not really bitter. I'm gonna push through this. I'm gonna tomorrow's a new day. The sun's gonna come up, and I will exact my revenge on the league.
Wow!
So, yeah, no bitter.
Peewee, what's making you bitter this week?
Clowns in professional wrestling. These guys during that 6-man, they came out with like all the clown stuff. They did a bunch of like good spots. They came out with like the big Harley Quinn hammer. They did a spot where he goes to whip one of the clowns into the ropes, and instead of whipping the guy, his sleeve comes out and he does like the magician like scarf, and at the end of the scarf was his boxer shorts. That stuff's funny. But then one of the spots that they kept going back to was throwing popcorn at the guys. So like popcorn in their face, and that would blind them, or popcorn in their mouth, or something like popcorn, pop, which is fine.
Do you know the name of these guys?
Yabo is one of them.
Are they like the destruction?
It might be
clowns
something like that. Yeah,
something like that.
Have you seen these guys?
Yeah, I've seen them. Yeah, they wrestle in Itasca all the time.
Yeah.
They do the same exact stuff.
It's the Midwest
clown-tastic.
clown gimmick. I just don't like any gimmick that involves you making a mess in the ring and then you not cleaning up that mess.
Peewee the dad comes out.
And I'm not saying they need to clean up. I don't think it makes sense for them to like clean up after that match, for like them to do all this stuff and then for them to be the ones to clean it up. But if they're not the main event, somebody's got to clean that stuff up. And it always falls on it didn't fall on me. I made sure to farm that out, but it would normally fall on the referees to clean that stuff up. So yeah, I just don't like that stuff.
New episodes of this podcast drop every Friday morning in audio form at bittermarks.com or Monday nights in video form on YouTube. Join us while we record in the YouTube chat Monday nights live at 9:05. That's p.m. and that's Central Standard Time. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at bittermarks. Email us, bittermarks@gmail.com. And last but not least, buy our shirts, prowrestlingtees.com/bittermarkscom. That's C-O-M as in Mondays. We now record Mondays, 9:05. Peewee, producer Tony, Smooth Babies.
Thanks for tuning in on Monday, guys. See you next Monday.
Lamar Jackson just fumbled, but it doesn't matter because I'm still going to lose anyway. Goodbye.